Hello gamers from around the world, this is Boxenberger, the video game enthusiast from Germany, and I would like to welcome you to this week's episode of the World of Gaming. And Dutch, it is Avowed launch day. And
we're intentionally delaying playing Avowed to talk to you guys about the state of play and a couple of other things.
True that. And I hope everyone knows how much of a sacrifice that is.
It is.
It is. We've been debating whether to delay the podcast for a day or so to just play Avowed, because if you have purchased the early access version of the game, you can play it. As of right now, it actually launched an hour before we started this podcast. So, yeah. Yes. I think we're both looking forward to play that right after the show. But first, we are looking forward to an awesome podcast because we just love talking about video games and the gaming industry and everything that happens in the world of gaming. And we love to do that, of course, with our awesome community. And with that, a big welcome to everyone who joins us here live today. I see a couple of familiar names already in the chat. Welcome to you guys, but of course, a big welcome to everyone who listens after the fact, either here on YouTube or on Spotify, Apple Podcast, wherever you're listening. Big welcome. A big welcome. We're gonna have an awesome show here today. And Dutch, my man, how are you doing? Besides being excited for Avowed.
Yeah, I've played the opening like 40 minutes. I've already got an achievement for finding a secret area.
Sweet.
It's already given me like Skyrim exploration feels, so I'm definitely going to love this game.
See, I haven't done that because it literally launched like 7 p.m. my time. And that's usually when I take the kids to bed. So I took them to bed, read the bedtime story, came down here, set everything up for the podcast. And then I decided, okay, I'm just going to create my character and then turn it off again. So,
I mean, the premium edition was only like $17.99, so it would have been like what, $20 for you, or 20 euros. But yeah, I've got my character has got a big, huge beard. He's got a bald head. He's even got little plaits in his beard. So, you know,
I can spend hours in character creators, but I usually don't do it when I play a game in third person, first person, not third person. So why spending a lot of time in a character creator that for a character you're never gonna see? So anyway, we will be back here next week with a lot of Avowed talk and what we think about the game when we have actually played it. And we probably got a
gameplay for you.
Absolutely. And we'll talk a little later in the show, of course, about the reviews and the debates. But Dutch, first, what have you actually been playing? And we want to know, of course, from everyone in the chat as well. Yeah. But what kept you busy, man?
To be fair, I haven't, because I was away hiking at the weekend and I was climbing mountains.
Nice. I've seen the videos.
Yeah, thoroughly enjoyed it. We got good weather, so that's the main thing. But yeah, I haven't really been playing many games, to be fair. And the ones I was playing before I kind of went away was I'm on a big RPG bender at the moment, so I'm playing the Final Fantasies again, Final Fantasy X.
Sweet.
But I'm also playing through Kingdom Hearts 2.
Ooh.
The HD remastered collection version. And of course, just started Avowed.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's just Final Fantasy X, Kingdom Hearts 2, and now Avowed. So I'm fully on my RPG kicking up in it, and I'm not going to get bored of it because I love RPGs just in general.
Yeah, agreed. Same here. So I've been mostly playing Path of Exile 2 still. The game has just its hooks in me. I think I talked to you about that during the last podcast. On how I improved my build without finding new loot or anything. I just spent a lot of time improving my build, and I've even managed to improve it further. And now I can do easily tier 15, levels in the end game, and that's just a blast. So I'm having a blast with Path of Exile 2 still. And Dutch, we're gonna get into the news of that a little later, but there were some Batman news, and I got the Batman itch again, and I downloaded the Arkham collection and started again. Nice. Yeah, with Arkham Asylum again.
So every now and again we get these itches to play these older games.
Yeah,
that was like me with Kingdom Hearts. I saw someone on Twitter playing Kingdom Hearts 2 again, and I was like, you know what? I think I can play Kingdom Hearts 2 again.
Sure.
So I started playing it again.
Yeah.
So I just got the yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes we get that itch. Yeah, so Pyromet in the chat sends in a channel member chat for being a channel member for 18 months now. So first of all, thank you so much for the continued support. And he says he's playing Sniper Elite Resistance, Cassette Beast, and Blue Fire. Sweet. Yeah, I've seen quite a few people play Sniper Elite. I think you've touched or played a little bit of it too, right?
Yes, yeah, I've played some. I don't think I've played any co-op. Oh, yes, I have. I played a little bit of co-op with Pat, Sniper Elite, and I've played some single-player campaign as well. I've also been, went and invaded quite a few people's games and
sweet,
made their lives a misery. So I won all of my invasions. So
nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
So no, it is a good game. It's just more of the same. If you like Sniper Elite, then you'll.
Yeah, I've never really been a fan of the series, but hey, not every game is for every gamer, right? So glad people are enjoying it. And H. Julia is playing Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 and Avowed.
Ooh, nice.
Now, of course, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. See, I'm still so super torn with it. I didn't want to start it before Avowed because...
The big game. The big game.
Exactly. It's a massive game, probably 100 hours plus. And I didn't want to pause it for Avowed, and there's no way I'm delaying my playthrough of Avowed. So I've not started Kingdom Come 2 yet. And... yeah, the main reason actually isn't the pausing thing. I'm still a little torn. I know when I think about the first game, I've so divided opinions. I so loved the story and the world and the ambience that they set up,
Yeah.
It's just phenomenal. I love that they are going for this like hyper realistic medieval world building. It's nothing anyone else has done in a game, yeah. But then the combat comes in, and I just hated the combat in the first one, and so I know they've improved the combat in the second one, but it's still the basic mechanics are still the same, and I'm not sure if I'm gonna like it again. Because this is, and so I haven't decided yet. So if there will be time a little later in the year, I'm gonna play Kingdom Come 2 maybe. But right now, I said no. I'm gonna wait for Avowed. It's just another week in between Kingdom Come and Avowed, and so now I'm very much looking forward to Avowed. So, all right, Dutch.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. It is. All right, Dutch, let us get into some news, man. Because, of course, there was the big state of play from Sony yesterday, and we'll get to that in a second. But first, Dutch, the news that made me the most happy this week, honestly, wasn't the big news item not every outlet reported on it. Not a lot of people have been talking about it on social media, but sometimes these smaller news make me just happy and very much happy. And that is that Rocksteady is now back at working on a single player Batman game.
Nice.
What are your thoughts on this?
I mean, everybody hates when I admit this, but I'm not the biggest fan of Batman. I've heard countless times the Batman trilogy was fantastic. If not the best kind of superhero game that was made. However, I've never played
How
it. Never
dare
had the
you say
inclination to play
that?
it. And I will never play this one. But I trust in those who love the Batman games that those games were the best that could have been in terms of combat, in terms of the city and the world building and the ambience that kind of came with it. So I trust their opinions in that game was probably great. But when I don't really have big enthusiasm for the characters themselves, I can't really get into the game, so I'm not really that fussed. And it's the same with Spider-Man. Like, people who love the Insomniac Spider-Man games, like, I appreciate that they love them. However, I'm not a big Spidey fan, so I'm just like, it's a good game, but I'm a really...
You just don't like superheroes.
I just don't like superheroes. It's a fact.
It's
like the games that I have enjoyed, like even Marvel, like I thoroughly enjoyed the Guardians of the Galaxy game because it's funny, it's quirky, the music's great. Like, I love that kind of thing. But do I enjoy all the other Marvel stuff? No. No, It's not my cup of tea.
I mean, again, it comes down to taste, but it's something I will never understand because the Batman games are to this day, the Arkham series is to this day the best superhero games ever made. And there's no doubt about it, especially Arkham City is one of my all-time favorites. You know, I've said that to you before that there are probably only like 6 games out there that I consider a 10 out of 10, and Arkham City is one of them.
But I always see it in the same as, for instance, General C, who's booing me in the chat right now.
Yeah, rightfully so. Rightfully so.
Yeah, but this is the same for me saying, like, I absolutely adore Final Fantasy and Kingdom Hearts games, but he absolutely detests them with a passion and just you know,
of course,
each to their own.
Each to their own. So, but I personally am super excited to hear. I mean, they tried something different with Suicide Squad, which actually wasn't that bad of a game. It just wasn't like a well done games as a service title. But if you just played the campaign, it was a fun campaign. But nothing close to Batman, right? Yeah. And so I'm super happy to hear that Rocksteady is going back to making single player games. Batman, which they excelled at, right? And I just hope that it's not one of these BioWare moments, you know, where when BioWare did the original Dragon Ages and especially the Mass Effect series, and then they, had their issues with Anthem and Mass Effect Andromeda and the general strategy of EA, right? And now I think Dragon Age Veilguard was phenomenal, but a lot of people didn't feel it. So I just hope that...
I think it's, you know what it is? I don't even think it's a lot of people didn't feel the game. We know what a lot of the issues were surrounding it. That people like me and you are grown up enough to not be bothered by.
Yeah.
But other people with immature sensibilities will always have, like, fret over, and you can't have pronouns and things in games.
Yeah, that's very true. And there was this one side quest that everyone was super annoyed about.
Like really out the way side quests that you have to really find to actually start.
Yeah. So, yeah. Dragon Age was actually a fantastic game. So, definitely in my top 3 of last year.
Yeah.
And anyway, and I hope that Rocksteady is not, getting into BioWare territory, where a beloved studio that crafted a fantastic trilogy is, after years and years of making other stuff, namely Suicide Squad, can't find back to their old glory, right?
I think they will, because even in the bones of Suicide Squad, the combat was okay. Like, even I bought Suicide Squad when it was down to like £4, just to jump on it at some point and just have a go at it. And I will, when I've got a little bit of spare time, I'll install it and see what it's about. But ultimately, in terms of their combat, I think everybody knows the combat, etc. It's you can't deny their ability, and I think if they're going back to making a single player game, I think Rocksteady will shine through on that.
I sure hope so. Knowing well,
I don't think they've got the problem with BioWare has, because BioWare's problem predominantly hasn't just been with Dragon Age. It started with Mass Effect Andromeda,
and then Anthem, and then
it's been like just a steady decrease in that, and I think a lot of it can be attributed to changes in the studio personnel over the years.
Yeah,
and some of the people that made the original great games great are no longer heading those studios. So it's just, you just gotta hope that it recaptures the same magic.
Yeah, I truly hope so. We're gonna have to wait a long time, though. I mean, Suicide Squad is now a year old. So then a new Batman game can't be far into production, and so we need to wait at least 4 or 5 years probably. But anyway, I'm excited to hear that, and looking very much forward to the year 2030, right? When we eventually get to play it. All right, Dutch. Let us talk about the state of play. Yeah. Yesterday, well, it was nighttime. It was like 1 a.m. or so when that thing aired here in Germany. So I watched it this morning before checking all the news. So before we get into some of the games, what were your overall thoughts about the state of play from Sony?
Was okay. My main thing about Sony, and I'd say I didn't have high expectations anyway, because the blog that they posted immediately mentioned nothing to do with first party. They just said studios from around the world.
Yep.
And immediately I knew that was going to be that they would be not showing anything off first party, and predominantly that, other than the remastered Days Gone was the case.
Yeah.
Everything else was second or third party.
Well, Housemarque.
Yeah, apart from Housemarques. Yeah. But other than that, I mean, that's I would say it's a niche enjoyment studio as well, and there's lots of them. And don't get me wrong, there's a lot of Xbox studios that are niche enjoyment studios.
Yeah.
So it's not a mark against them, but I wasn't a big fan of Returnal. Chances are, if this is even remotely similar, in the way that it plays, I'll probably not like this game either. And it's nothing against them. It's just not my style of game. But yeah, I didn't have high expectations. It wasn't a showcase. It was a state of play.
Yeah.
Predominantly centered around third party stuff. A lot of which are going to be multi-plat. I was actually expecting a couple of the Xbox announcements on there, but we didn't get any.
Me too. Nope. I was surprised about that. I would have thought like we see Forza Horizon or something. But yeah, nothing about that. I agree with what you said. It depends a little bit on your expectations. But I mean, there were plenty of games in there, but almost all of them were like multiplats, of course. And well, you can say that now about every Xbox showcase as well. But
but we know that expectation with Xbox now. We
know that. My issue is there was really nothing new that excited me. I mean, we'll get to the games in a second, but I'm excited for a game like Borderlands, but I've seen it multiple times before, or Monster Hunter Wild and so on. We've seen these games before, and there was nothing new to get excited about for me personally in there. So that's the one thing. And the other thing is just, since everyone is so thirsty from Sony to get a proper showcase and get, excited again about the roadmap and everything.
Yeah.
Such a state of play leaves a different taste than when an Xbox does now. They also do these third party, what are they calling them? Third party partner shows. Partner showcase, yeah.
I think that's a little bit more descriptive, though.
Yeah, and it's very. It just leaves a different taste. If all you would get, from Xbox is a partner showcase. You also would watch that with a different, all good, all cool. We have seen this game before. We've seen that game before, and nothing speaks, this is PlayStation, and I think this showcase just showed that, you know what I mean, that there is just no exciting roadmap ahead, and that Sony wasted many years now making these games as a service titles, and that their pipeline is just bare dry. I know this wasn't this state of play wasn't the scope of being a proper showcase, but since we don't get those from Sony anymore, and there is just nothing, it just, you know what I mean. This is just different, and them wasting so many years on things nobody wanted, and things that will never see the light of day. Or have seen the light of day for a week, like Concord. And now all their studios start with new projects, but we know that they are years out. It's just something, right? But let us talk about the games. But before we do that, I need to shout out Pyro Matt, who sends in a £5 super chat and says, Monster Tamer fans need to play Cassette Beast. The deluxe edition is on sale on Xbox right now, and it's his personal game of the year 23, and it's on Game Pass too.
What's this game?
Cassette Beasts.
Oh, Cassette Beast, yeah. Pyro is...
How do you pronounce it? Cassette? I think you thought you pronounce it Cassette.
Cassette, yeah.
Cassette Beasts. Okay. All right. So... Yeah, exactly. I know he loves that game, and I've never played it. And I'm very sorry, Pyro. I've never really played it, but I need to at some point. I need to.
It's it's a bit like, I don't know whether or not you would like it, because you're not a big fan of Pokemon.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of Pokemon.
Yeah, it's kind of like a different take on the Pokemon style game.
Okay. You're not helping Pyro into getting me to play.
I'm not. Cassette Beast because I like Pokemon, but I know you don't like Pokemon.
So we shall see. All right, let's talk about some of the games that they have shown at the state of play. They opened up with Monster Hunter Wilds. It comes out in 2 weeks, right? A little less than 2 weeks, and we've seen Monster Hunter Wilds many times before. We've seen, or those who pre-ordered played the beta, right? What were your thoughts on Monster Hunter Wilds. So what are your thoughts on the game in general?
I've tried so many times to get into Monster Hunter, and it's just not for me.
Okay.
I bought Monster Hunter Worlds. I didn't get into it. I played the Monster Hunter that went on the Game Pass. I've forgotten the name of it, Monster Hunter Rising or whatever it is.
Rise, yeah.
I didn't really get into that. I've tried many times. So Wilds does nothing for me.
Okay.
It's going to do gangbusters because it's got a huge audience. But
yeah, it's going to be a massive success.
I just feel like it's just, for me, it's a bit too sluggish. A little bit too sluggish.
I mean, Monster Hunter Rise, I get that. That was kind of a spin-off and not the best. Monster Hunter Worlds was actually great. I really enjoyed it. My problem with the game was that I bought it like a few months after it came out. And all my friends were either like level 2,500 or something, you know, and you were the noob starting at level 1, or they already had moved on, and so I needed to play the game solo. And playing a Monster Hunter game solo really isn't that much fun for a long time. You do some of the quests and then you kind of grow tired of it, and that's why I'm also very hesitant again with it this time, because I know I don't have the time. I'm not too much of a fan that I would like drop everything and start playing it immediately, and I definitely want to take my time with Avowed. I also looking very much forward to a couple of other games that will release over the next few weeks, and so I'm not like Assassin's Creed comes out early in March, you know, and so yeah, I'm not 100% sold yet on Wilds. Just don't have the time, and by the time that I have the time to play it, everyone will have moved on, or again is knee deep in the end game, and then I just I'm struggling with it, you know, whether to get it or not. But what else did they show? They continued with Sonic Racing, you know, the Mario Kart clone.
Yeah.
Well, woohoo! Then they've shown the Yakuza pirate game, man. And now, not for me, but I know a lot of people that are super excited
for it,
yeah,
a lot of people.
Yeah, also in our community. And if you do enjoy the Yakuza games, it does look fantastic. It's quirky. It's got the humor right.
It's got better pirate mechanics than Skull and Bones. So
I mean, it doesn't take much to have better pirate mechanics than Skull and Bones. So, but yeah, I'm excited for the folks that are looking forward to the game. Yeah. But again, it was also a game we've seen so many times before, right?
A lot of times before,
yeah. What else have they shown? WWE 2K was in there. Oh, okay. We got that covered.
Yep. I'm not a big fan of men in like wrestling with each other, you know.
Yeah, I've never been a big wrestling fan. I mean, maybe that would be different if I lived in the United States. But wrestling just isn't big here.
I don't mind combat sports when I know it's actually real combat sports. I draw the line at people putting on a show where it isn't actually like fighting, and it's just essentially Nacho Libre.
Okay.
In fact, Nacho Libre, the Mexican wrestling is significantly more entertaining than WWE or WWF.
Yeah.
I'd much rather play a game on Nacho Libre. At least it's like ridiculously somersaulty, acrobatic moves that they've got going on there.
Dustin in the chat says wrestling is better than soccer. which I would hardly disagree.
I would highly disagree.
I'm sorry, Dustin, but
highly disagree.
That's just nonsense. All right. Man, the next game they've shown, I'm very much looking forward to it, and that's Borderlands 4. And I know you're not...
Speaking of which, I reinstalled Borderlands 3 the other week, and I need somebody to play it through with. I put that game down not long after it launched.
Shall we co-op it?
I didn't have anybody to play with. I need... That's essentially, it's more fun. I always found Borderland games are more fun when it's co-op. I didn't find them anywhere near as fun by myself.
It absolutely. I mean that. Let's be fair. That goes for probably every game. Is more fun in co-op. Almost every game.
Every looter shooter is exactly.
Yeah.
I much prefer as a co-op. Yeah.
Yeah, but actually, Borderlands 3, I was just not a big fan of the end game, but the campaign was fantastic.
Yeah.
So, I'm looking forward to Borderlands 4. It got a release date, September 23rd. Which I think is actually one of the good. Sounds good. It's one of the first, if not the first, major release date that we have for after the summer break. Because the second half of this year, we know plenty of games that are coming, but none of them have a release date. And we've speculated before that's probably due to GTA and everyone. Wants to move out of the way from GTA, but they settled down, and 23rd of September sounds like a good plan. If it's not too crowded in that area, because Borderlands is one of these, I would consider it a AAA game. But I don't think Borderlands 4 has enough hype to survive in between other major releases. So, and I want it to be successful because Borderlands is just pure fun. It's a game that doesn't take itself too serious. It has great looter shooter mechanics. It's always been a fun experience when I played it. So since you said you downloaded Borderlands 3, I can download it too, and then we could co-op, man.
Yep, Borderlands 3. I haven't actually played all the way through, so I'd play that on co-op. Yeah,
sweet. If we can pull ourselves away from Avowed.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I've literally just staring me in the face right now. It's I've got very, very strong will to not be playing right now.
Not the best point for a podcast right now. Like doing a podcast an hour after the game comes out. Yeah. So, okay, with that we have the first major release for this fall holiday season with Borderlands in September. And then we got a game that I know you are super excited for, Split Fiction.
Oh, God, yeah. I've already got that pre-ordered. Yeah, got that pre-ordered. I think I'll play it. Jen will see. You'll be playing Split Fiction with me because we've played all of the other games from Joseph Fares. So I'm going to have to drag you into this one, Jen, and I know you won't turn us down.
So, I mean, it does look fantastic, right? The makers of It Takes Two have a new game, and it does look phenomenal. So that was cool to see again. Yeah. But because, well, we have seen it before, right? But I really do like this going back and forth in between, like a high fantasy setting and a cyberpunk-esque setting, and it Dustin says it looks like It Takes Two DLC. No, it doesn't.
Nah.
I mean, you can tell that it's from the end, that they definitely took the formula from It Takes Two.
It's a formula that only they've really done, and it
Yeah.
works well. And the one thing I love about these games is that only one person needs to buy it for two people to play it, because you get a friend pass with the other one. Granted, they don't get the achievements, and that's fine, but they can experience the entire game without picking it up as long as you buy it.
Yeah.
Fantastic idea. I love that.
Absolutely, absolutely. So then we had, what else did we have in there? A couple of smaller games, and then Directive 8020 was there. Midnight Walk was there. Onimusha got a release window for 2026.
Yeah.
Anything on Onimusha? Yeah. Onimusha.
Yeah, it's an oldie. It's great to see it come back again. But with things in 2026, I mean, with so many games coming out in 2025, I think my brain is just focusing on all the stuff that's coming out this year. I'll look forward to next year.
And the only 26 game that I can genuinely say I'm already super excited for is Gears E-Day.
Yeah.
Of course, assuming it comes out in 26. But exactly. with so many awesome games ahead, it's kind of... And
it's also mentioned 26 on a release date now, I'm just like, okay, cool, move on.
Yeah. And probably it's also something because we've been burned over the last decade so many times with games getting announced early and then it takes years for them to come out. So it made it harder for me to get excited about something that I know is years out. You know, I rather focus. And it's also not like in the very old days when you think back to the N64 days or so, when you had like 3-4 major releases a year and that's it. We are now literally getting every month at least 2 major blockbuster games, tons of indie games in between or smaller experiences in between. And so there's really no need for me to be like super enthusiastic about the stuff that I know is years out. And I know 26 isn't years out, but I'll be playing at least 25, 30 games before an Onimusha comes out, at least, if not more. Yeah. Probably rather 40 games like that. So.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. Metal Gear Solid was shown.
Yeah.
For the 431st time.
Yeah.
It got a release date. Actually, I don't know whether it already had a release date, but it was.
It didn't. I think it had a release window.
A window. Okay, so now it's got a date. It's also coming out this fall season. It's on 28th of August. Is late summer, early fall. Probably kicking off the period after the summer break, right?
Yep.
You excited for that?
Yeah, I'm excited for that. It's one of the only games, Metal Gear games I haven't played. Snake Eater, so I'm looking forward to that. I get to experience it in its brand new form and not its original form, so it'll be up to date, and I can probably enjoy it a bit more.
Okay. Yeah, since I'm not a Kojima fan and not a Metal Gear Solid fan, I don't get the hype, but good for those people.
Did you play the original?
I did. Listen, I played Metal Gear 1 and 2. Which one was Snake Eater? Was that the third?
Snake Eater was 3.
3. Then I never played it. Because I played 1 and 2. Absolutely did not enjoy them. I gave... I don't know. I know I didn't play 3, and I don't think I played 4. I played 5 again when it came out. Never finished it because I got so bored. I don't understand what people like about these Kojima games. It's an awful storytelling. it's
It is really convoluted, but
the gameplay mechanics also feel clunky. You know, the shooting doesn't feel good. The stealth doesn't feel good. I don't know. It's just beyond me. But hey, people seem to enjoy it, so kudos to them. Hell is Us was shown, coming September 4th. Still looks...
That looks good.
That really good, yeah. But also multiplat, right?
Yeah.
Of course, there can't be a state of play without Sony announcing another remaster. Of course. And this time it was Days Gone.
Yes, this time it was a game that they cancelled the second one for, so they're now remastering a game they don't care about.
Yeah. It's still beyond me how they could have made that decision, because people enjoyed Days Gone. I know it had a rough launch.
I really don't platinum things very often, because a lot of the games have a lot of grindy things and stuff like that. I only 100% games if I truly enjoy them.
Yeah.
Like enough to go and do everything else. And there's very few games I've done that for. I did it for Hogwarts because I thoroughly enjoyed that. I did it for Metal, for God of War series. I've done it for Days Gone. There's very few I would do that for, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. And yeah, like you say, it's baffling that they decided not to, just because it didn't get critical acclaim, regardless of what the sales figures did.
And it didn't even it wasn't even bad reviewed. I think it's I haven't checked, but it's 85 or something. Like
85 was it in the end?
Yeah. Something in that ballpark. I haven't checked where it's sitting now, but that's when it was at the time, and it sold, like, the last number I remember was 9 million. Probably by now, let's assume 10 million copies, which isn't bad at all, right? And
the only thing that we kind of hope for here is that they're using this as a gauge to see if people are going to new people are going to pick it up, and if people enjoy it, then potentially look at green light in the second one. But even then, the original writers left the studio, and still furious with them. So would it be the same for a second? I don't know.
I don't know either. I mean, this is a super bad decision, obviously, by Sony to force spend into making a games as a service title that they didn't want to do. And they wanted to do a Days Gone 2, and to tell them, no, you can't do that. You have to do the games as a service title, and then cancel it 5 years later. Like, that's ridiculous, right? You lost 5 years' time of a fantastic development studio that they could have spent in making a game that they actually enjoy and that will sell you another 10 million copies. So I really enjoyed Days Gone. And to be fair, this time, at least if you own the PS4 version, you can upgrade it for $10 to the remaster version, so you don't have to buy full price, which is kind of new, right? Because if you think about the last remasters that they have published with Horizon and Last of Us 1 and 2 and everything, you always had to buy it at full price again. And so at least it's a $10 upgrade or €10 upgrade. So yeah, it comes out April 25th.
Yep.
I don't know if I'll have the time to play Days Gone again, but I would be intrigued because I honestly enjoyed the game. It was a fantastic story.
I've platinumed it now, so unless they add more trophies to it, I don't have a reason to. As much as I loved it, that's like, it would just be getting it just for the quick platinum. And as everybody knows, if you buy the early upgrade for a game that was PS4 to PS5, you get the platinum automatically. That's all I would get. I
Yeah.
would pay $10 to turn the game on and get the platinum.
Well, I don't play the games for trophies or achievements. I play them because I enjoy them.
Yeah.
And
I
it's
did
been
enjoy
5
it, but,
years or so since I've played it.
yeah, for me, it's the same with God of War. Like, I thoroughly enjoyed God of War 2018, and I thoroughly enjoyed Ragnarok. But because I finished everything there is to do in that game, I don't want. Like, even when I switch it on to play it again,
Yeah.
I'm like, no, I just don't. I've finished everything here, so it doesn't have the same kick that it did the first time I played it, and I don't want to ruin my thoughts on it.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I know. I'm not sure yet because there's just too much new stuff coming out, and Days Gone was also a massive game.
Yeah.
Many hours, 40, 50 hours. And so, yeah, let's see. What else did they show? They closed the show with Saros, the new game from Housemarque. And it's probably the one thing that most people were excited about coming out of the state of play, because Returnal, at least in the more hardcore community, was a beloved game. It wasn't for me. I didn't enjoy Returnal at all. So, like you said earlier, I'm also not super excited about Saros because I didn't really enjoy the previous game. So, but yeah, that's got a release window for 2026.
Yeah.
So
the thing about PlayStation games for me as well is, and this is what comes down, everybody knows the same thing. If I'm not too sure on a game, I'll wait until it comes down in price before I pick it up. And I'm very much a digital buyer. I hate buying discs when I can. And Sony just doesn't reduce game prices for their own games like Nintendo.
Yeah.
So unless you're really looking forward to a game and you're really interested in the game, then I just don't pick them up. And that's always been the case unfortunately for PlayStation games. So because I didn't really enjoy Returnal, and I tried it on PS Plus, thankfully, so I didn't buy it. Do I have an inclination to pick up the next Housemarque game? No. I know people absolutely adored Returnal and love Housemarque, but I'm not risking buying something where I'm not overly keen on the idea in the first place.
Agreed. And it's not just because of the money I want to save for myself. It's also about the time. There's only so much time that you have for gaming, and with tons of other stuff coming out, we shall see. A couple of our fine folks in the community corrected me in the chat, by the way, because I said Days Gone sold 9 million copies plus, and Dustin and Pyro, they corrected me. It had 9+ million downloads after being added to PS Plus.
Before it went on to PS Plus, it had 8 million sales across PlayStation and PC. Before it went on to PS Plus.
Okay. So a quick Google search. The first that pops up. By February 2022, it sold 7.32 million copies, and that was before it was released into Game Pass. So yeah, the 9 million I mentioned were probably right. So that was a quick Google search, but yeah. Numbers weren't
It's an underappreciated
bad.
game specifically by PlayStation.
Yeah, numbers weren't bad on Days Gone. They were just not on par with a God of War and Last of Us or something.
The problem is PlayStation were in a bit of a weird one at that point, and this is what always baffles me, is that they always held all of their first-party titles to the same standard that they do Uncharted and Spider-Man and God of War and Last of Us. They expect all of them to hit 20 million plus, and if they don't, it's not a good. That's exactly how they kind of went down that page. With,
absolutely. With Ben Studio. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's so unfortunate, man. So unfortunate. All right. I mean, that was the state of play. So overall, nothing that was super exciting, especially again with the fact that they don't have a proper roadmap to look forward to. First party content is gonna be rare over the next couple of years. You will have like the occasional game, Ghost of Yotei, coming this year somewhen. Next year they have now Saros, and maybe the year after Intergalactic or so, but it's nothing like they don't really have a proper pipeline now because they canceled too many games and wasted too many years on other stuff, and that shows that when you watch such a show, such a state of play, it shows you the results of that, right? So there were a couple of good games in there again, like a Borderlands, which I'm super excited for, but again, we've seen it so many times before, so for me it wasn't really an exciting showcase.
Yeah. Yep, same. But it was exactly what I expected because as soon as I seen the blog, because and it sounds harsh, it really sounds harsh, but the only reason I have a PlayStation is for first parties. I don't have it for third parties. I'm not interested in playing any third parties on my PlayStation. Yeah. So the only thing I look forward to when I look at PlayStation's events are what first party titles are coming to the PlayStation. Yeah. Unfortunately, there has been little. We've got Ghost of Yotei. Well, I've got Ghost of Yotei to look forward to, which is the only predominant one coming out this year that I'm interested in. I'm not asked about Marathon or anything like that. Like, really doesn't bother me. Ghost of Yotei is literally the only one, so that I'll switch it back on again when Ghost of Yotei comes out, and that'll be it until whenever the next good game that I want to play is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. Same here. It's exactly the same for me. I use my PlayStation as the exclusive machine. Since I own all consoles, I just prefer to play my third parties on Xbox and occasionally PC. But and PlayStation is my exclusive box, and I won't be turning it on that often over the next couple of years. That's unfortunate. Let us switch topics and move on from Sony's state of play and move over to Xbox, because they actually do release games. Avowed launched earlier today, an hour before we started the podcast, in early access. It fully releases next week. If you have pre-ordered or if you have paid the $20 or $30 upgrade like we did, you can play it right now, and reviews are out, man. And for the most part, they are very good. There are some reviews out there that are a little bit more critical, but overall, it looks like it's a good game. What were your thoughts on the Avowed reviews?
Yeah. To be honest, kind of in the ballpark I thought. Kind of 80s, mid 80s. I think a lot of people take that.
I mean, Metacritic is right now 85, right?
Yeah, that's about right. Yeah, so that makes, to be fair, that's pretty bang on for the studio. If you have a look at Outer Worlds, that was pretty much the same, kind of mid 80s. I probably expect Outer Worlds to probably review the same. It's one of those games where I think it's, by the looks of things, the people enjoyed the combat, enjoyed the story, enjoyed the world. A few people said it looked better than they thought it would look. Of course, it has multiple options for those with TVs capable, so you can play it in 30, 40, or performance mode 60. So you've got multiple options there to playing different types of quality and performance modes, which is great. So you get that day one. And it's got plenty of content, plenty of side quests. There's big worlds. I think a few people have said if you want a little bit more challenging combat, which also makes the combat feel a bit better, then put it in hard. I'm just playing it through on normal at the moment, but yeah, it's exactly where I expected it to be. To be fair, and good on them. Good on them.
Yeah.
Happy days. I think anything. If it is when you start hitting the 80s plus, you're in good territory anyway. So I don't think
I do agree.
Very, very happy with that.
And honestly, whether it's an 85, 90, or even a 95, when you are in that ballpark, it all comes down to taste, right? There will be people that will absolutely love the game. A lot of people gave it a 9 plus, 9.5, right? And others didn't.
8.5.
Yes. So to me, I'm glad to see that Obsidian obviously didn't drop the ball. I know that I will be loving it because I'm a huge fan of Obsidian games.
There's a lot, there's a lot of dialogue options. Again, on this one, there's a lot of things to choose from when you see it. None of them are the same. It all depends on what class you chose as well when you created your character. So I went for the war hero.
Yeah, me too. I've only done the character creation. I haven't started the game.
And then your dialogue options, you have dialogue options specifically for your class as well.
Yeah.
So war hero will be is one of the options in a lot of the dialogue. Where you're a little bit more hard, a little bit more like straightforward to the point, and like blasé about death and people dying and stuff. So I like it. I'm intrigued to see how the dialogue kind of affects the story as things go on and how our characters interact with me. So, like you say, a lot of reviewers will have difference in opinions on whether or not they liked or enjoyed the story or the combat or anything like that. But ultimately, I think it's in the right ballpark as an weighted average.
Yeah, agree. I've seen some people being controversial about it because, argue or saying in their reviews, well, it's not a AAA game. I don't know. Honestly, I'm not bothered. And it always comes down to the question: what is a AAA game for you, right?
AAA game ultimately, all AAA means is that it's a larger studio with a big budget. All it really boils down to is the amount of budget that's been put into the game and the amount of heads that have been working on the game. If it's 50 people and somebody's put in 200 million, that's a AAA game, even if it's only 50 people. Likewise, if it's 15 people and it's 200 million, it's still a AAA game because it's 200 million quid. You could also have 50 people working on it and only have £1 million, and that's an indie title.
Yeah.
So
that's
AAA it's a silly term really used by the industry to kind of dictate the amount of budget spent on a game.
Yeah, I agree, and it really shouldn't bother you at all whether you consider it a AAA, AA, indie, whatever. At the end of the day, it comes down how much fun is it to play, right? And from what I can tell and the reviewers that I do trust, it's one hell of a game, and so I'm super excited to play it. And we will talk about the game a little more next week, Dutch. Something else that happened in the world of Xbox this week is that the South of Midnight previews went up. A lot of people had hands-on events and did get preview copies where they were able to play an entire chapter of the game.
Viking got a preview as well.
Pardon?
The Black Viking got a preview copy as well. He's played it through and loves it.
We never get those. I always have this. I have this.
I blame myself. To be fair, it's only got myself to blame because I've really slacked off on doing gameplay stuff on this and podcast and stuff on this channel over recent months.
Yeah, no, I always have this the issue that like Xbox has these different divisions that are responsible for different regions, and being in Europe makes it significantly harder to get
Yeah.
something. Xbox just doesn't care whether content creators from
European influencers.
They just don't care about those. And then whenever I get in contact with them about a review copy, you never get in touch with Xbox directly because they have outsourced the entire influencer handling stuff to a third-party company. So you have to go through them to contact Xbox. And then I always get the same thing when it happens. They ask, of course, about the channel. You show them the channel, and numbers are good enough. But then it comes to big but. Well, you are in Germany, so you have to go through us. You can't contact the US Xbox division, but you're doing content in English. If we want to hand out a copy to you, we want you to do German content, because we are responsible for the German division. And this is what I'm ending up with. So it's an almost impossible task to get in touch and get review copies or preview copies. But that's how it is.
For that, the only resolution for you on that is to do the entire review in German and then have another voiceover segment where you're just voicing over the same thing but in English.
Yeah, but most of my followers are not from Germany. You know?
Yeah, just give it to appease the Xbox German overlord.
Screw it. I'm not getting any review copies, and that's okay. That's okay. That's not what we wanted to talk about. We wanted to talk about South of Midnight, man. We've seen the game before, but we never had an idea whether it just looks good or if it actually plays good and is fun. And a lot of the people that did the previews, they all had very similar opinions about it. That it's focusing strongly on storytelling more so than the early showings of the game led on. It's actually darker than expected. It's a darker tone, and that it's actually really fun. It's that it looks gorgeous. We all knew that because we've seen the game, right? It has a beautiful visual art style. It does something very unique with the stop motion technique. But how does it feel to play? And everyone said it's fun. It's got good traversal. Combat is good. Of course, it needs a little polishing, but they got another 2 months, right, till release. But overall, it's fun to play. It's got a good storytelling from the part that they played. They all got to play chapter 3 of the game. Good story, good writing. And everyone loved the music, because they actually have full songs in the game, not just like the typical soundtrack of a game, but actual songs with singers, right? Which not a lot of games do. Yeah, I mean, if you think back, I don't know, for instance, to Red Dead Redemption, they had this one moment in the game where they actually had a song with a singer, but it's not very common, and you don't find it often in games. You have that, and apparently it fits really well. So yeah, man, it does sound like we can all look forward to South of Midnight very much. What were your thoughts on the previews?
Yeah, I'm actually relatively surprised when I heard that people are getting reviews for South of Midnight as early as they have. Correct me if I'm wrong. South of Midnight comes out in April.
April, yeah, end of April.
So like a couple of months away, and they're already getting previews of the game. That's a sign of a relatively confident studio there and a relatively confident Xbox to get previews out for a game that's 2 months away. And especially the amount of people that they've got previewing it. Like I say, large and small that I've seen. And it's great to hear about it. And like you say, a lot of positive feedback, both in terms of the story and the gameplay. I've heard, of course, it doesn't outstay its welcome either. It's like I think 12 to 14 hour game. So it's relatively short, which is relief to me.
Yes.
Again, I love these nice breaks where you're going from Avowed, which is like 30 plus 40 hours.
Yeah.
Then you're going into
Kingdom Come
Midnight, which is about
Deliverance,
40.
and then you have a smaller experience. Yeah.
Yeah, then you have a big one again. Yeah, it's perfect. Perfect. It's a nice change of pace.
Yeah.
And that I think shorter games like that make you more inclined to play through again and pick up little bits and bobs if you want to do a 100% playthrough, because it's not as long to go through it.
Yeah.
With the big games, with the big bad games like Avowed and Skyrim, things like that, unless you absolutely love the game to no end, you're not going to go and play through it again to get up all the secret bits. So
yeah.
So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It's one of the games that I think will be a surprise hit.
Agreed. I don't think a lot of people have it on their radar, but it feels and looks like it's gonna be a surprise hit. Indeed. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Dutch. Let us move on from Xbox and move over to Crytek. They also had some news this week.
Yeah.
Besides, of course, a bunch of layoffs. They laid off 15% of their people, of their staff, which is never a good thing to hear, right? They've also announced that they put the development of Crysis 4 on hold. And they rather focus on making more content for Hunt.
I mean, General C will be happy about that, but
but he's probably the only one, right? And I really don't get these studios anymore, because let's face it, the one thing you could have learned from the last, let's say, 5 years or so is the lesson.
General C's not happy about it.
Yeah, but again, he's the only one. But the lesson that you should have learned by now as a studio is make the games that people actually want.
You know what I would love, though, and this is, you don't in most cases want to advocate for consolidation, but I think Crytek needs purchased to give it a bit more stability.
Yeah, they've been struggling for so many years financially, for a very long time. Granted, I mean, Hunt was fairly successful for a studio of that size, but yeah, it's like everyone was excited when they announced Crysis 4. Yeah, that's the game we want from you, besides Arise 2. But that's the game we want you to make, right? And now they put that after the announcement has been, 3 years? At least. It could be 4. Maybe someone in the chat knows, right? After 3-4 years, wasting time. Yeah, again, it comes down. If you put that game on hold now, that time is wasted. I mean, on hold doesn't mean it's cancelled, I know, and you can argue here all day long, but at the end of the day, as a studio, you need to make the games that people actually want, and Crysis 4 was one game that everyone looked forward to. And they don't do much with their engine either. Yeah, the only game I can think of is Kingdom Come Deliverance, actually. It came out with and they have a fantastic engine out there. Yeah, they're not doing much with that engine either. Licensing it out to more studios and so on. It's a shame.
It is, yeah. And we can wave goodbye to a Rise sequel anytime soon.
Yeah. That's probably, honestly, never gonna happen. Unless Microsoft buys them at some point.
I think they should. They get an engine as well as a team.
Yeah, agreed. And I mean, it is a good studio. They make great games. The Crysis games, Crysis 1 to 3 were awesome, right? They were really fun. Rise was a game everyone enjoyed. It suffered a little bit under the well, let's say troubled launch of the Xbox One. The game in itself was phenomenal.
Yeah.
It still looks more beautiful than a bunch of games that come out this year, 10 years after it came out, right? And then Hunt, well, I don't know what to say about Hunt. It was fairly successful for such an ongoing game from a studio of that size, but it never set the world on fire, and it's got its little niche community, but I don't think that's what they need to do to become financially stable again, right? So
yeah, I agree. It's a shame.
It's a shame,
but I think a lot of independent studios are finding themselves in the same position.
Yeah.
It's not to say the big guys aren't either, because the big guys have let go of teams, but even Sony, as we've seen a lot of consolidation with them, especially even recently. So, yeah, industry's still in a very funky place, but I ultimately think if Crytek actually want to continue to do things beyond Hunt Showdown, they need to either part with a company and become kind of a support studio for someone so that can get more finances in, or be purchased.
Yeah, I agree. Another game that was put, well, not on hold, but apparently got a reboot a few months ago, many years after its announcement, was Wonder Woman.
Again?
From Warner Brothers. Yeah. They have reportedly changed the director of the game, and it has been rebooted just a few months ago, and is now again years out, which is also kind of weird. We don't really know what the game would have been, but given that the studio made the actually really awesome Lord of the Ring games, right?
Yeah.
I was actually looking forward to see what they do with a Wonder Woman game. But yeah, also been, well, not put on hold, but yeah, we probably don't see that game anytime soon, if it ever comes out.
Yeah.
It's a shame.
I think a lot of people, I think the problem with a lot of studios these days as well is they have a sound base idea as to what they want to do for a game, but they haven't really fleshed out the idea before they start making it. And then their initial ideas turn out to be relatively shallow. And then they're like, right, okay, we need to do something else with this, and I don't know what. And then it ends up just getting put back and back and back.
Yeah. And true to that, there's nothing I can add. It's a shame.
Yeah.
And if you think about all the years that are wasted at these studios, right?
Oh, yeah.
Shame. Yeah. Dutch. We can already move on to the community questions because we got a ton of them, and we have a bunch of really good ones in there that will strike up a great conversation. The first, so for everyone who doesn't know just yet, you can write in community questions or topics you would like us to discuss. Each and every Wednesday, we put up posts on Blue Sky, of course, on Twitter or X, and so on, and or here on YouTube directly, and write in questions or topics you would like us to discuss. We get one question in the community from Caroline Gamer actually right now, asking, when is Replaced releasing? Yeah, Replaced has actually been delayed to 26 again. So Replaced is, well, now a 26 game. But the first community question of the day comes in from Rafe Damos, and he asks, with AMD's UDNA architecture possibly not ready for 26 console release, do you see a phased rollout of Xbox next-gen hardware, where the first phase is software-based and comes in the form of third-party hybrids, followed by first-party UDNA handheld and PC console hybrid in 26-28 from Xbox? It's a fantastic question, man. Because yes, UDNA, so for those who don't know, basically the successor to the RDNA architecture, GPU architecture from AMD, is basically their next big thing. Was actually supposed to come out end of this year, early next year, and it doesn't look like it'll be ready. It doesn't look like it'll be ready actually for 26. It could very well be. Could. It's a could. Yeah, it's not confirmed. It's a could. But it kind of looks like that UDNA is not going to come before 27. And so with Xbox, rumors out there that they are aiming for a console release in 26, it really brings up the question. What are they doing? If UDNA isn't ready, they kind of, because we all assume they are not going to use the old RDNA architecture anymore if UDNA is on the horizon, right?
Yeah.
What does it mean for the console? And I mean, he brings up a good point. Is this because we've heard Jason Ronald at CES and Phil and everyone talking about that they will show us this year what the platform team has been working on, and it's heavily rumored that it's like a new kind of operating system for the Xbox that is assumingly Windows based and enables you to install things like Epic or Steam or something like that. And if the hardware isn't 26 because AMD isn't ready with UDNA, what do you think is gonna happen? Because I have my thoughts. I mean that's whether or not they use AMD. Yeah, that's the first big question. Who says that Xbox isn't moving over to NVIDIA? Yeah, which is the ultimate question. And especially, I would say NVIDIA have got significant more experience when it comes to handhelds. Yeah, since they've done the Switch. Yeah, and also portable PCs, i.e. the Switch, not the Switch, the Steam Deck and the ROG Ally. No. The ROG Ally and Steam are running on AMD. They are all on AMD. Yeah. The ROG Ally runs on the Z Extreme chip from AMD. Z1 Extreme. The Z1 Extreme, and the Z2 is on the horizon, and it's heavily rumored that Lenovo and ROG Asus are bringing out upgrades to that. No, they are fully on AMD. But I'm with you. Since Xbox has been so heavily discussing this, that they want to differentiate through hardware power, not exclusives anymore. I could see that happening if they use an NVIDIA GPU in their consoles. And we know they did that in the original Xbox. The OG Xbox had an NVIDIA chip in there. Then something happened in between the companies on not a console related thing, but something happened. in between the two companies, but now they are having a very good relationship with all the AI server infrastructure. Microsoft and Nvidia have a very, very good working relationship again. And so I could see that happening if, of course, Nvidia can offer the same price, because that's the thing, or a similar price.
You would also think, though, Nvidia have a little bit more flexibility, being the largest and one of the more largest companies in the world financially, to be able to do transactions that are more beneficial to them on that front, and cost effective. So they would also have significantly stronger supply chain capabilities.
I agree. They do have that. And if Microsoft decides to go with Nvidia, of course, 26 isn't, or a move out of 26 for the next Xbox console is absolutely realistic. However, if Microsoft sticks with AMD, I don't think it would be wise to release a console without the UDNA architecture, especially if you know that your competitor is going to launch a year or 2 years later their version of a console and has the UDNA architecture. So we shall see. I mean, the interesting thing really is for me what they do with this operating system, and apparently we're going to learn more about that.
Yeah.
I mean, I could also see them rolling that out for the existing consoles. Why not? Maurice, the Xbox, Nintendo and PlayStation tester, writes in a question specifically for you, Dutch. I got a question for the show. What does Dutch use to keep his beard so gorgeous?
Yes. I shampoo and condition using shampoo and conditioner specifically for beards, and get them from L'Oreal now. And beard oil and a ball brush to brush out the beard, and that's pretty much it. And then, of course, cut off the dead ends when you get them. It's a bit like managing long hair.
Interesting. So there you go. Pyromed asks this. As Like a Dragon Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii is only 9 days away, my question is, what pirate games do you love and have fond memories of? A few examples would be Sid Meier's Pirates, Monkey Island, Assassin's Creed 4, Sea of Thieves, Age of Pirates, and so on. So, which pirate game do you remember fondly?
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned it in that list. Monkey Island is absolutely up there as one of my most favorite Monkey Island pirate games ever. The humor was ridiculous. The story was fun. I'm glad they brought a new one out not too long ago. That was also great. And I also thoroughly enjoyed Sea of Thieves, of course, in my time with it. And Pirate Legend on that game. I put a lot of hours into it. Naturally, with a live service game, at some point you have to drop off it. Otherwise, you just play the same thing forever and never touch any other video game. I don't want to do that. So, so I've dropped off Sea of Thieves for the time being. But Sea of Thieves and Monkey Island have absolutely my crowning pleasures of pirate games.
Monkey Island, definitely. And I would also add Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag. That was just awesome. Yeah. Sergeant Sentinel Gaming writes in and asks this. Do you think we will see anything about GTA 6 in the next 30 days? No. I could see that we see GTA 6 at the Switch 2 reveal event. Because they've talked... No, honestly, they have talked this week about that they want to support the Switch 2. And they know that they will.
That would be a sight. That would be a sight seeing a GTA game on the Switch.
Honestly, I could see that happening. the Switch 2 will gain a massive install base within a couple of months. And why would you skip that? If you bring it out on Xbox and PlayStation and the Switch 2 can support it, why not? So I don't know.
I mean, what will it look like?
Yeah, that's another question. The Big Bridge writes in an easy question this time. What's your video game Valentine? A video game character which you would take on a fancy date and a long drive.
Pan
Am. I'm also sticking with CD Projekt Red, but I'm going for Triss.
Okay. Triss Merigold.
Yes.
Yeah, it's Pan Am for me.
All right. We got that settled. Okay. Clute writes in. What would be a remake you're really looking forward to? I would love to see a remake of the first Resident Evil and Devil May Cry.
Final Fantasy IX. Which is also rumored to be in production.
Now, mine is probably never going to happen, but Secret of Evermore. I want to.
You never know.
Yeah, you never know.
You probably didn't think Visions of Mana would come out, and here we are.
True that. But I would love a Secret of Evermore remake, man.
Yeah.
All right, Dutch. That brings us to the end of this week's podcast. I want to say a big thank you to everyone who tuned in here this week. I know Avowed is out and probably a lot of viewers are itching to play the game, as do we. So a big thank you that you took the time. A big thank you to everyone who listened after the fact. Of course, either here on YouTube or on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you're listening. And Dutch, let everyone know where they can find you and what you are working on.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to work on being a bit better at streaming on here at some point. But honestly, I get in from work, I go to the gym, I get in from work, I go work, gym, work, right? So yeah, I'm gonna have to start doing a little bit more on the channel. But I'm also enjoying going on hikes and recording hikes and doing vlogs and things like that as well. So yeah, I'm not gonna promise, but I'm gonna try and be a little bit more active and getting some more video gaming content or streaming or something on here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's it. Just keep an eye on the channel, and if I manage to get a few more bits up, then happy days. And ultimately, that'll be what I try to do.
Yeah. Sweet. And of course, we will be back next week, Thursday, 2 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. UK time, or 2 p.m. Central Europe. As always.
Fingers crossed for some more news.
Yes, please. And until then, I think most people will play Avowed, and if not,
if you've got it.
If you got it, if not, it comes out next week for everyone, and we will have a more in-depth discussions about our thoughts on Avowed next week. And I'm looking forward to playing it. And until then, don't forget to game on.